Hi, my name's Braden and welcome to my channel, That Guy Animates. First off, I would like to introduce myself and give you a brief summary of my life story and my artistic journey thus far. And I wanted to make this video as a sort of launching point and starting point for like a video series on my artistic journey from where I started to now. And it's sort of like my educational background, and yeah, just kind of talk about that for a bit. I started writing some things down. Don't really know if I'm going to read you all of that, but I'll try and catch you up. Started just about like any other artist kid, growing up. I got my first sketchbook that I still have held on to in 5th grade, and I drew in that pretty frequently. It's mainly full of like Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic OCs. It's a good thing I didn't really have access to the internet back then, because I definitely would have been one of those kids who was uploading like their Sonic OCs to Tumblr or Reddit, or I don't know what sort of forums were around back in the day. I would have definitely been one of those kids. But yeah, so I grew up the artist kid in school. I would volunteer for every artistic project, and then I got into high school, and the first art class, because you could choose classes, the first art class was available to me, and of course I chose it, but I was really let down by it, to be honest. It was a glorified arts and crafts class. Not that I was better than that, I just was wanting to learn more. I was really looking forward to, I don't know, but looking back, I would consider it to be a more academic learning experience, but what I got was more just exactly what I said. It was more of an arts and crafts class. And then we had sophomore year. Sophomore year was different. It was a new building, a new teacher, and it was the same bad art program. We actually did some life drawings. We started drawing some blocks and things, I think. I don't remember it very well, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. It wasn't a whole lot better. We did do more vocabulary stuff. Like we started learning more about the technical things, like technical terms in drawing, but that was barely, just barely notch up better than what my freshman class was like. The only other thing I remember is that she didn't want us talking very much, which really kind of killed the vibe of the classroom. So, if you're gonna have an art class, let the kids communicate, let the kids talk about their passions, let the kids critique each other. I just think not talking in class is dumb. Anyways, on to junior year. Junior year, we had new teacher number 3. We could not hold on to a single art teacher the whole time. Our freshman year, that art teacher, she actually taught something else, but she was like a graphic designer on the side, so she decided to teach the art class, which was great. But she ended up having a baby, and she was gone, and we had to have a substitute like the entire rest of the year. And I think that's part of the reason why she didn't continue the classes in sophomore year. Sophomore year, we had this sort of substitute coming in and out. We kind of had like I can't even remember who it was. They just kind of had our old teacher's curriculum, and they just kind of had us do it. Junior year, they found somebody to come in, and they were okay. I can't really put a face to it. I had a new art teacher every year, and I can't remember any of them except for the last one. But anyways, junior year, this teacher split up our lessons by semester, and again started from scratch because she didn't know where everybody was. Like the first half of the year was like drawing and doing certain things and working in we still had the sketchbook assignments where we had to draw in our sketchbook at the beginning of every class. Had to do a little thing, and then we would draw or paint or do, I can't not remember whatever the assignments, and that took on the whole year. I really don't feel like I learned very much. I got a lot more practice in, I guess, but it wasn't good practice, so the time was kind of wasted. And then that brings us to senior year. Oh, actually, let's go back for a second. Before my senior year, I actually got to participate in a summer program for college. It was the College for Creative Studies summer college experience thing, and I signed up to do the transportation design summer course, and my parents were kind enough to pay for it and send me up to Detroit, and I spent 3 weeks there, and that was really awesome. At the time, I was interested in going to CCS, and so getting to spend 3 weeks there doing classes like designing cars, working as a part of a team, that was really cool. That was the best art experience that I'd ever gotten up to this point, other than my dad teaching me himself. Like, my dad gave me a couple of really good pointers about perspective and things really early on when I was younger, that I didn't get all that much from my art teachers. So thanks, Dad. But anyways, I did the summer program and then went back to high school for senior year. Senior year, I knew I wanted to go to CCS because of the summer program, so I planned on applying for it. But again, pretty sure we had a new teacher again. And this one, Mrs. Malloy, was pretty nice. She was kind enough to sort of like invest in, like, because we were also seniors at the time too, which is why she was lenient, but she was kind enough to let us just work on whatever we wanted as long as we were working on something, which I think this was her. She was trying to teach us stained glass windows, like how to build them and cut glass and stuff. And that's fun. That's a cool little art project. But, you know, for somebody who wanted to focus on transportation design, you know, draftsmanship, things like that, doing the windows, I feel bad because I didn't see the point in it. It wasn't, I don't know. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, senior year. I started working on my college portfolio, which mainly just consisted of, like, Mrs. Malloy wanted us to paint. So I started doing a bunch of paintings and things. And I had a couple of drawings that I thought were good enough to go into the portfolio. But I had no idea what was supposed to go into this thing. I didn't have anything to go off of. Nobody else in my school was applying for anything like this. So I didn't have much help. But I did my best. At the end of senior year, I had maybe four paintings and a couple of drawings that I sent in. And the college liked them enough to accept me. They barely accepted me, as I came to find out, but they accepted me. And so after working for a summer, after graduating, I moved up to Detroit. My family actually helped me. That we road tripped all the way up there, 17 and a half hours, and they helped me move in. We got my place set up, which was just in the dorms. My two roommates were sophomores and they weren't there yet, so I kind of had first pick, kind of rearranged the furniture. It was fun. It was a pretty cool place. I really liked CCS. I would go back if I could spend all the money in the world, but I don't. I don't have all the money in the world. I never finished at the College for Creative Studies, but I did get the education that I was looking for sure. The education there is 100% worth it, and I wish I had gotten it sooner. If I had gotten their fundamental drawing courses and things like that, if I'd gotten all those foundations in high school, where I think they should have been taught. Like, every high school should be teaching what they're teaching in the beginning of college, just, you know, at the very least in junior year or sophomore year. I just missed out on so much knowledge and so much practice and so much just training. Anyways, I really enjoyed the fundamental classes. They're really nice. It was everything that I was missing in art. It opened my eyes to perspective and how to draw people, and like, I'd already kind of known how to measure things for life drawing a little bit, but it really hit home in college. So that helped a lot for drawing people, for animation and knowing proportions. And like I said, I went for the transportation design program, but I just didn't quite fit. I tried real hard to fit into that program, and I thought I would. I thought it would be a piece of cake, but it just, I don't know. It may have been the competition in the room, because we had several kids who were, like, I was 18, fresh out of high school, and there were kids coming in from Asia, from South Korea and China, and they were 2 years ahead. They had already gone to 2 years of a design school in their country before coming over here. So they were 2 years advanced, taking freshman classes with us, and they just absolutely blew us out of the water. They're remarkable draftsmen and sketch artists, but like, we couldn't compete, to be honest. And it was just demoralizing. Like, it made you feel bad when you really shouldn't be comparing yourself to them, but like, you can't help it. But they're your peers at that point. And so I was severely lacking in draftsman skills, in drawing form and volume. So I don't know. At one point, my teacher in my class, she said that my sketches in my sketchbook, she said they look like drawings. And I said, well, they are drawings. And she goes, yeah, but you're supposed to be sketching. And I did not know the difference. I was in college for art, and I didn't know the difference between a drawing and a sketch. Like, fundamentally, I thought everything that went into my sketchbook was considered a sketch, but everything I did was drawings. They were a lot more refined, more finished. They were shaded. But like they weren't in the sketchy sort of designer style that they were after. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to loosen up. I didn't know how to let go. And so working on that, I did loosen up a little bit, but she eventually just told me, like, a lot of my stuff is just way too illustrative. And she asked me if I would be interested in switching majors to illustration. That kind of made sense. It didn't hurt me that much. I was like, okay, I guess I wouldn't mind that, because I'd still get to draw. I'd still get to be an illustrator. So I went home after that first semester and just kind of talked to my mom and dad about it, and we kind of decided, if I wanted to switch majors, then they were supportive of that and they were fine with it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel at the time, but I decided I was gonna go ahead and go back and try again. But after I returned, I sat in my transportation design studio for second semester, and I sat there and I thought, I really don't want to be here. That first semester was rough enough, and I really didn't want to repeat that. So I just looked around at all my other students, and nobody was talking to me, and I was just chilling. And I did have 2 friends in that transportation design class, although in our second class only one of them was in there. And I looked down the table at her, and I just kind of grabbed my stuff, got up, waved at her goodbye, and left. Headed straight for the administration office to change my major. When I got over there, though, I had been contemplating illustration the whole time, but when I got in there, I kind of officially decided on animation. I decided that was something maybe that was more for me, because in our transportation design class, we had to draw what they wanted us to draw, which was a bunch of ellipses and things, and cars and car parts. At the end of it, we got to spend a page drawing whatever we wanted. And on that page, I drew characters, I drew cartoons, I drew things that really should have told me to be an animation from the start. And when I was younger, I used to do flip books. I used to go to church camp, and while the pastor was speaking, of course I was listening, but the pastor was speaking, and I would just sit there and I would draw little fight animations in like sticky note pads, just because I was fascinated by it and I liked doing it. And that should have told me a long time ago that I should have been in animation. I used to make Lego stop motion videos. That also should have told me I was meant for animation. And so I'm just surprised. I'm surprised I even tried transportation when all the signs were pointing me towards like film and animation. I even did theater and stuff like that. I don't know, not that tells you have to do anything, but I'm just surprised it took me so long to see it. So second semester, I make it into animation, and I start my animation classes, and immediately after switching majors, I was already really looking forward to my classes more than I was looking forward to my second semester of transportation design. So I'm really happy I switched, and it went fine. My animation 1 class taught me how to draw on paper. We did it like the traditional Disney style. That was really interesting to learn. That was fun. I did okay. He liked some of my projects. Some of my projects I didn't get to finish because I am an underachiever for the most part. I have these incredibly high expectations of myself. I settle for getting close enough, and that's something I'm kind of sick and tired of. I used to have this sort of motto when it came to goals and expectations is shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you still land amongst the stars. I don't know if you've heard that one before, but that was one that I really liked, because it made it okay to not achieve your dreams. And now it's not okay. So I did animation. Animation was going well. My only problem with my college classes, I had 3D animation, I had 2D animation, I had creative viz, I had my foundational drawing classes. I did wood shop, which is called 3D design. They did wood and metalworking. They call it 3D design. I did my 2D design. I did model making, and I didn't have a whole lot of problems in a lot of those classes. I had some problems a lot of times finishing my finals works and handing those in on time. A lot of late turn-ins. A lot of me apologizing to my professors. There was only one class that was really giving me a lot of trouble, and that was my Comp 1 class. I know this is about art, but I'm gonna talk about this Comp 1 class just for a second and mention that it was the hardest part for me about going to school. It was any class that didn't have anything to do with art. I failed Comp 1 twice, and they put me in Comp 2 for some reason. They're like, oh, you failed Comp 1 twice, we'll just go ahead and move you up to Comp 2. That didn't work. I failed that one too. And it was only because my essays, again, like a lot of my final projects, were half finished, half baked, or I hadn't even started on them. I did finish some of them, and I got pretty decent grades on the ones I finished. But yeah, I didn't finish them. It's all my fault. I spent probably too much of my downtime relaxing, for sure. But man, looking back, it takes me so long to write a paper. If I had like sat down and wrote those papers, I would just lose a whole day. And you're like, oh, how's that bad, in comparison to the grand scheme of things? Well, we had a lot to do as students at CCS. And if you want to go there too, you better be prepared for it, because they demand a lot of your time. All of your homework assignments, for every 3 hours you spend in class, you're going to spend 6 more hours outside of it working on the homework assignment that they gave you in class, that you may have even started in class. And so when you do that on top of another class that you also have that day, it's a lot of work, over 12 hours of required like homework time spent on your projects. And that's after taking 6 hours of classes. You run out of time. You really do run out of time. If you're not a night owl, if you're not willing to spend all-nighters at least twice a week, then you're not going to get work done. And that was just really hard on me. It was. But also, that's no excuse. I should have worked harder. And I did, actually. I ended up not finishing my time at CCS. I left after the 3rd semester and moved back home. I decided not to go back because it was costing me a lot of money, and I just failed 3 classes and almost failed another. I think she barely passed me. It was just hard. It was hard being away from home, and I was ready to go back. So what I did instead is I saved up some money. I worked for my dad's company for 9 months, 10 months, saved up some money, and planned on going back to school in Oklahoma City. And so what I did is I just moved up to Oklahoma City and started going to this school, and I got a job, and I just made it work. I worked full time, and then I went to school full time. I went to a school called Francis Tuttle Technology Center. They happen to have an animation program, and my Aunt Sherry is the one who told me about it. And I spent the next 2 years at Francis Tuttle. My first year went really well. I completed a lot of the core curriculum incredibly fast. I spent only $2,500 or something like that on my 2 years of education there, which was insane because I spent well over $35,000 in student loan debt to go to Francis Tuttle, or to go to the College for Creative Studies. That was after I got help from a scholarship that was giving me $11,000 a year. College is so incredibly expensive that it is great if you do get to go. But if you can't, you have other options, and I highly recommend the other options first. Just my advice. I spent the next 2 years at Francis Tuttle. I got 3 certifications. I had wonderful classmates, 2 great teachers, Mr. Green and Mrs. Myers. I graduated with 3 Oklahoma certifications, one for 3D modeling, one for 3D animation, and one for motion graphics. The pandemic kind of cut our time there short. I had to spend the last half of my last year there from home, which was pretty nice until it got old. Then it was summer. It was basically summer for me at that point. I just went to work full time, and outside of that, I unfortunately came home and didn't do any animation. I really regret that. I should have kept working. I should have been continuing my skills, and I just didn't touch any of my projects for like 2 months, and I just worked, and then when I wasn't working, I was relaxing. I was drawing some things, I was animating every now and then, but I wasn't taking it seriously, and that's on me, and that's gonna change. One other thing I would like to mention is that I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. Like always. Like ever since I was younger, I was watching PewDiePie play Amnesia for the first time. It was like, I always thought that was the coolest thing. The fact that you could do that and survive off that, that's what I wanted. And I had no idea how hard it is to do. Very, very hard. This right here, very, very hard. But hopefully I'll get better as time goes on. And that's part of why I wanted to make this video, is because I plan on doing this a lot more, if not for anything other than practice. And so this will kind of mark where I'm starting, my starting point. Back to me working full time and not doing projects. I was still sketching in my sketchbook at least pretty frequently. And I got to a point where a friend asked me if I would do a logo design for them. And I said, sure. This was a buddy at work. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I ended up doing this logo design thing for a while, working for him, and then I just went back to work, and I didn't touch the logos for a long time. And then he asked me for some more. He wanted me to update it. And his friend, who is a streamer right now, Gigi Machiavelli, he reached out to me and asked me to do some more stuff for him. And I did. We worked together for a little bit, on and off, because I was still working. And I feel really bad because, again, I would work and I would not work on the stuff that I wanted to do. You know, I had a graphic design job in my lap and I wouldn't touch it for days on end until I would get a text message from Machiavelli saying, "Hey man, hey, what's up?" He's so nice. He's the nicest guy. And, you know, he's so willing to work with me. And I let myself down for how I treated that job. You know, we you know, it felt more of like a friendship than I did a job. Anyways, to try and get back on track, I did the graphic design stuff for a little bit for GG, Grassroots Gaming, and now I am back at work, and I'm just working. And I got to a point where I was just kind of miserable at work. You know, I kept watching YouTube video after YouTube video on how to start a YouTube channel and how to grow your business, a lot of Gary Vee stuff, and it was weighing on me. You know, I was starting to realize I have the potential to do exactly what I want to do. I have all the equipment necessary to do exactly what I want to do. The only thing that's stopping me from what I thought was time. You know, or really energy. The way I saw it at the time is I was spending too much of my energy at work, and then I would get home and I would have no energy. And that was probably the biggest miscommunication to myself that I've ever done, because what I did after that was an even bigger disservice to myself than anything else I'd ever done. I quit a perfectly good job that paid me $12 an hour, and I decided to quit and take time for myself and go freelance and, you know, try to grow a business and do all that stuff. I had to survive off my savings, and that was not good. Looking back, with hindsight, it was not good. At the time, I thought I was living the dream, except for the fact I had no clients other than the GG guys, and I didn't really know how to operate as a business. I didn't have good habits set in. I didn't have the work ethic built up, and so I failed. I did. I spent 5 months, or I spent 3 or 4 months not working, saying I was working on YouTube, on animations, and the animations that I put up earlier in the channel's history, if you go back into the videos, you'll see them. Those were some of the ones that I did outside of work, and I didn't even finish those. So I'm kind of sick and tired of that. I'm sick and tired of this, the kind of habits that I've built where I just stop. You know, I get 3/4 of the way into a project or anything, and it just stops. I either lost motivation or work ethic, or it's not good. It's not a good thing to have. And so I need to start finishing projects, and I need to start doing better with clients, that's for sure. So anyways, I go several months without a job, dipping in my savings. Everybody's worried about me and trying to tell me that I'm not doing what's right. And for the longest time I brushed it off, but eventually it's just, yeah, no, it's not right anymore. It may have not been right at the beginning anyways. You know, I wasn't ready to take on the freelance stuff. I wasn't ready to do that. And now I know. And so now I'm going to work on getting ready to take on that kind of work, to build my skills up more, finish projects, make art. Because right now, if you tried to look at some of the things I've created, you wouldn't find a whole lot. It's because I don't finish projects or I don't post them. And that's kind of a big, that's my killing flaw, I guess. And so I'm trying to correct that, trying to build better habits and do better in that regard. So those 5 months of me not having a job, not even really getting down to business and working on my own stuff and my own short film projects and things that I have lined up. Anyways, after the 5 months, I would consider my quarter-life crisis somewhat ended, and I picked up a job. I went and got a job and have been working that for the past month, and now I'm wanting to get back into doing my animation work and my YouTube. I want to get that YouTube channel. I want that guy animates to be successful. It's the first step in my grand scheme, my big dream. And so we'll see what happens. Quarter life crisis over, starting a new chapter, and I would love for you guys to be a part of it. Sorry for this video being so long. I don't know, I had a lot to say. And so thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you didn't like this video because it was so gosh dang long, you know what to do. And if you have any questions, leave a comment in the video, or leave a comment down below. I'll make sure and reply to every single one. Also, something I've decided to do before I forget is I plan on doing a backflip for each new subscriber. I'll probably try and mentioning that at the beginning of each of my videos from here on out. But yeah, for every new subscriber, I'll do a backflip for you. And I will post that to my Instagram story. So if you're curious about seeing those, go check it out. The link to my Instagram will be in the description below. I guess that's all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.